Sherman, a Pine Ridge-born, Lakota native chef, has been making waves in the culinary world and beyond.
I was born and raised on Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. I went to school in Batesland, South Dakota when I was young, and then my mom moved us off the reservation and we moved to Spearfish. So I did high school and college at Black Hill State in Spearfish, South Dakota. And after that, I moved to Minneapolis, Minnesota, where I had started working in restaurants at a young age in the Black Hills and Spearfish Canyon and Sylvan Lake and places like that. And so I'd been working in restaurants since I was 13 there. And then so when I moved to Minneapolis after college, I'd already had quite a bit of experience in the kitchen. So I just continued working restaurants, and I moved my way up in Minneapolis to a chef position when I was in my late 20s. So I was still pretty young. And then I just kind of started that career as a chef. And I did that for quite a few years in the city. But partway into my chef career, I just kind of realized the complete absence of indigenous food out there anywhere. There were no native restaurants, there were no native cookbooks on the situation. And even I didn't really know that much about native foods, even having grown up on Pine Ridge with my family being Lakota. So it set me on a path to understand what indigenous foods were, what was my philosophy with indigenous foods moving forward. And so I created a company called the Sioux Chef, Sioux. Started the business in 2014 early. Since that time, we've released a cookbook called the Sioux Chef's Indigenous Kitchen. We had a food truck called Tatanka Truck. We started a very popular catering company here in Minneapolis. I became a public speaker and started speaking all over the U.S. and the world, really, about the philosophy on indigenous foods. We have another cookbook coming out. We opened up a nonprofit called TIFS, or North American Traditional Indigenous Food Systems. And we also opened up our restaurant called Owamni in Minneapolis, which has been extremely popular. We opened up in July of 2021, kind of doing our philosophy of showcasing indigenous foods, cutting out colonial ingredients like dairy, wheat flour, cane sugar, beef, pork, chicken, things that didn't exist here before, and showcasing a lot of wild foods, a lot of wild game, a lot of Native American food products coming from native food producers. We won the James Beard Award last year for Best Restaurant in the entire U.S., Best New Restaurant in the entire U.S., which is a huge award. And, we're busy and we're getting ready to grow. So we're already eyeballing moving into other locations, and we're hoping to be in South Dakota in the next few years. So the work that we're doing with the Food Lab is we've created a market space that serves and sells indigenous foods and indigenous food products from indigenous food producers. We have a native classroom to teach about all facets of indigenous education, which could be culinary, food preservation, language, star knowledge, anything really, crafting, medicines. So we were just creating a space just to help steward indigenous knowledge. And then we have a production kitchen where we do a lot of work, a lot of food production, and that's this whole model that we're gonna be moving. So right now we're working in Bozeman to try and see if we can get our first expansion there. But we have other areas, including Rapid City, as a place to open up soon after we kind of get this next model built. It's been a lot of accolades, because like I said, I have 3 James Beard Awards. I was one of Time 100's most influential people of the world this last year. And this Julia Child Award is another huge honor, and it comes with a $50,000 award that I'm just giving to the nonprofit to continue to help us build everything, because we're just trying to be support for more indigenous food operations everywhere, not just in our region in Minneapolis, but everywhere, and especially where I grew up on Pine Ridge in South Dakota and some of the other tribes there where I have lots of family still. So we're actually working with Red Cloud School right now, helping them to develop healthy indigenous food recipes, and just making sure they have the capacity to do that. And we're just trying to put ourselves to be a support center, So the work isn't about me in getting all these awards per se, but that does help us to have a louder voice and a bigger platform. But we just see something that needs to be done. And I think people can have a lot deeper understanding with our indigenous communities if they understand the culture better. And food is such a great language to use to get people to be curious about culture. Yeah, about us, we have natives.org. It's natifs.org. They can look up my name, SeanSherman.com, and there's a lot of information there about stuff going on. My company is called the Sioux Chef. They can follow us on social medias and stuff like that. We have a large presence on Instagram and Facebook, of course. And I'm very proud to have built what we built, and we see a path to really make a difference in the way people eat, the nutrition access that people have, and the way people think about things, because there's a lot of issues out there that we still have to deal with, and I'm happy to be a part of finding some solutions.